Calling this meeting to order. Welcome to the Committee on City Property. Today is Monday, June 17th, 2024. It is 5:38 p.m.
Chairman Gonzalez.
Present.
Vice Chair Endelwong is absent. Councilman Espinal.
Present.
Councilwoman Graves.
Present.
Councilwoman Peterson. Present. 4 present, 1 absent. You have a quorum.
We have our minutes. I'd like to thank you first for all that they do, as well as our Assistant City Solicitor Skolnick for being here with us this evening. So we have several items on the docket. So, Madam Clerk,
Item 1, resolution authorizing the conveyance of the parcel located on Assessor's Plot 34, Lot 21, 839 Mountain Avenue to PRA for the purpose of redevelopment thereof and for economic development and increased tax revenue.
thank you. I understand that we have members from the administration joining us today, so we can swear them in. How are you? As well as, Portion Politano.
Stand and raise your right hands, please. Do you swear this penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please state your name and department titles for the record, please.
Nicholas Chicatelli, Director of Real Estate in the Department of Planning and Development and Providence Redevelopment.
Paul Thomas, Director of Governmental Affairs.
Courtney Hawkins, Chief Operating Officer. Thank you.
So, I'm not sure who's going to kick us off, but the floor is yours. Thank you all for being here.
I'll just start and then Nick can probably take some of the details. I think the last time I was before this committee, we had committed to a process of reviewing city-owned vacant properties to start to bring those properties to market. And so we've done that. We provided counselors with a list of properties in their ward, and Michael and Nick have been reviewing them. The properties before you are the first what we're calling bundle. There will be more to come, but these will be transferred to the PRA to then be made available for redevelopment. The one that is different is number 3 on the list, 518 Hartford. That's the current Providence CAT building. We're here before you tonight to transfer that to the PRA so the PRA can execute a transfer of that property to the Providence CAP agency. So they'll be the owner of that property. The relationship to date has been that they've been a leaseholder of that building without having the benefit of owning it and being able to finance improvements. And so that agency has requested that they have the opportunity to become the owner of that building so that they can make improvements and invest in the asset in the long term. So that is number 3 before you, 518 Hartford.
Great. So we'll open it up to committee members. If we can have just a bit of context or background. Anything that you think relevant to share.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So the first property on the list is 839 Manton Ave. It's 6,500 square feet roughly. It's an R2. And this is a property that is ripe for development. We've got calls about each of these properties, which is why we've determined that there's some demand for them after consulting our list of the overall universe of available properties. And we've spoken with the council in that ward. In this case, it's Councilman Sanchez. And it's been determined that this is a good fit for the first bungalow piece. From 10,000 feet, what we're trying to accomplish here is to get property that's in city control out to the public so that it can be used to develop housing. And in doing so, we get housing built, and we get those properties back on the tax roll.
See that the zoning here is it's R2. Is there any plan to make it more dense or?
So I don't have the answer directly in front of you. I do know that if once the comp plan and related ordinance is passed, this could be upgraded to an R3, so a three-family could theoretically be built there up to three, but currently it's R2, just 2 stories, 2 family.
And it would, be up to the developer to come before whatever the zoning committee to ask for any changes if they wanted to.
Questions from committee members? Councilor Briggs?
It's hard to say. This has been a little bit of a detective exercise, and so we took a list that started from the tax assessor of every parcel, and we actually had to physically view every parcel to determine what was vacant and what is developable. And the history on some of these is obscure and hard to know. So I think they are all different. And the goal of this exercise will be to clean up this list so that we don't have so many of them, and then we'll be able to keep a more tighter hold on them moving forward.
Now, I know the sponsor wanted to see if there was potential language that could be added to the resolution. Is that here, or is it left broad?
You wouldn't find it in this ordinance, but it may come up 2 other places. The PRA has the flexibility to put in criteria like for affordable housing into its RFP, or to add bonus points for affordable housing in the RFP. And then second, if they were to look for city support through the Providence Housing Trust, that also has its own parameters to support affordable housing. Well, the general idea is not to bind the developer for a particular property, not to bind their hands to see what kind of funding out there is available. Outright housing had a less smaller round availability than was expected, and so that means to get stuff built, it might have to be market rate for this particular property. But the idea is to let the developer come to us and tell us this is what we can do.
The PRA board will eventually approve its future use, so there's an opportunity for another entity that has council representation to try to steer it, depending on what the proposals yield.
For everyone's education, that would be more of an administrative process of the PRA. Of course, there are several council members who were. Okay, so if everyone feels comfortable being that forward, I know that could be added to the resolution. That sounds like something that certainly be done during the process. Forward, unless council members have additional questions. So. Motion made by Councilor Peterson, seconded by Councilor Espinal. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. So item number 2.
Item 2, resolution authorizing the comment of the parcel located on Assessor's Plot 36, Lot 91, 173 4th Street to PRA for the purpose of redevelopment thereof and for the economic development and increase of tax revenue.
Sure, this is another property that was deemed ripe for development. It's 3,775 square feet. It's zoned R3, so you can build up to a 3-family house. It is a smaller lot, but that is going to be congruent with upcoming zoning changes. So again, we'll let developers see what they propose to build there, make sure it meets our criteria.
Remember the questions I heard. What was said to item 1 being that it's 2 lots, but it's here, and just be it right, so all that applies to this as well, right?
Right, we would put it through our PRA public process where we can on a one-by-one basis put this into making sure it goes to affordable or keeping it open to what developer needs at the time. You're talking about 177 Ford, which is right next door?
No,
Just 173.
exactly, just the one that's there. Right, so we'll get addressed within the PRA as far as the,
Right, it can be, yes. Well, special consideration made for it.
So that language will
So there was a recommendation of potentially having one page that be added to require the structure that is built to be a single family home dwelling. Its own R3, so
Yeah, we would encourage the council to let these properties go through the normal process, right? They're gonna have to conform with the rules of planning. And the PRA will evaluate proposals as they come in. If we make it too restrictive and then nobody bids on it, it stays vacant and unproductive. Yeah, I understand.
I mean, given the fact that it's R3, this itself is much more dense development than single family home, so allow for flexibility. So those are great questions. From council members. I mean, this is just, I think we're bringing this stuff up because I'm sure that if the sponsor funds with us, we just want to make sure there's flexibility during the PRA process, but there's also potential come back, which is stipulates that the home is built to not be sold to rental companies. I don't know if this was a concern from council members. If this goes through the process, with the PRA process, or if there's a rezone that needs to take place in the future, that can certainly come back to the council. There will be an opportunity for public to weigh in and share their concerns. So just want to throw it out there so there's transparency on that. But any questions or concerns about that? I'm sure when it does go through that whole process, council members can certainly advocate on that. So that being said, is there a motion to this to council? Started by Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Espinal. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yes, item number 3.
Item 3, resolution authorizing for the comment of the parcel located on Assessor's Plot 112, Lot 403, 518 Harper Avenue to the PRA for the purpose of redevelopment thereof and for the economic development and increase of tax revenue.
So this is the transfer of the Providence capital thing that I mentioned earlier on.
I understand that we have someone here that also represents. Feel free to go up and chair. We'll also have to chair right sir. Madam Clerk, to get swearing in.
You swear the county attorney that when you're about to give is the truth. You state your full name and current address for the record, please.
David Bano, I'm actually 215 Senator Johnson, but I'm here representing 518 CEO of the Community Action Partnership.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. So we want to hear more about your potential results here and
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all in this committee. And as Ms. Hawkins mentioned, we've been occupying that location for a number of decades. We currently is Community Action Partnership and prior as Providence Community Action. Many of you are familiar with what we do in the at different events and to some of the services and programs we offer. We are the local community action agency. There are 7 state of Rhode Island, 11 internationally. We are the designated agency for the city of Providence, with folks who provide low-income housing, home energy assistance, lighting program, utilization program. We do the applications currently for the city of Providence for the lead program, food bank, and local services, employment training, etc. Our basic mission is to help folks get the services they need to maintain household stability. We have some flexible funding streams, but most of our grants are city, federal, state grants, and they're pretty single purpose or multi-purpose. We do have some flexible funds for our community service block grant, which allows us to provide other services and so this ownership of this building is something we've been trying to do for a number of decades. As Ms. Hawkins mentioned, it would help us to, the asset would help us make repairs and do things currently. We have the city for everything. We need roof, we need drainage, we need the building face needs to be repointed. HVAC is out of whack. But that would help us to budget Champlin and to CMG and other programs that can allow us once we get ownership to make those steps. In addition, and more quickly, it would provide some stability for us. We are lucky that the current administration and prior administrations have been looked at and have been interested in what we do, supporting what we do, as well as council has always been supportive of services. But as political climates go, who knows, right? Years from now, years from now, things change. About $11 or so million worth of services in the city every year. We serve roughly 30,000 individuals a year, over 10 to 11,000 households. And most of our folks are the ones who can afford services, those types of things. We pretty much serve all of the vast majority now is working 100 employed folks that we serve. We still, again, take care of people on homeless services, a lot of food bank services, meal services, shelters, and others. So, I don't know, any questions or other things that
both things that you spoke about, and I'm happy that it's still I just got a lot of great
Yeah, I just want to second that and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I have no questions. Often we refer to So one of the things that I an opportunity to come over to settle my statement. So that we can serve two people, because of the following.
Absolutely, and it's funny, our strategic plan, our next 3 years strategic plan is actually. Start this year, I think we went from 4,800 to 7,600 applications this year. We are already in talks with the city, station here, we're in talks with the community center, and other agencies, or EEI collaborate with the city hall to, at this point, literally any place we can go and set up some outreach folks and applications.
So maybe, I'll look to connect with you. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna give it a.
Thank you very much.
If you need to reach out, please.
Well, yeah,
So you're just looking at declare independence from the city. Right?
Yeah, it's more, like I said, that asset would give us significant stability. Grants, repairs will allow us to take that piece out to be.
You would have to go for us to come in.
Exactly.
We're terrible landlords.
And you guys-
If you haven't, you know, we're terrible.
We did.
I don't know about the past, but since I've been there, you guys have been
Right,
great.
leads me to my only question, how much do you estimate that the city spends in repairs per year on ballpark?
I wouldn't
The
even.
only reason why I asked for that, according to that's the amount that we will save by transferring this property.
It's totally inconsistent, and unfortunately, because we don't have a proactive maintenance program for these buildings, if you use like the Da Vinci Center as an example, when, you know, things get bad, we end up putting out a ton of money this year to fix their asbestos issues in their roof with the counselor there. So it's, because we don't keep up on our maintenance, it's hard to say it's X amount every year, but it also means we have these very old buildings. Federal Hill House is another one I'm worried about, with tons of deferred liability, and no, you know, we need to fix this building. We're not good landlords. And so to me, the more, where an organization has the governance and ability to manage itself, not all organizations do, but this is an example of where they don't need us. It is better for the organization and for the city to transfer ownership.
Nature, the
yeah, and that deferred maintenance, it adds up over time. Can you give us just like you probably may not know it now, is there like a concrete example of like not having the city bureaucracy being a part of this, so will allow you or enable you to do? I obviously you're very and you mentioned the HVAC
And again, so for big capital expenses, right, roof, HVAC, drainage, repointing from the building, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that, I don't know, that's a long process, I assume, but we've got, the city's got to bid, and everything, you know, all the steps. For little things, sometimes it gets a little gray for us, but I'm like, for example, I just took over in March of 23, and the first thing I did is the first thing I saw was the sidewalk was a disaster. You can't get a wheelchair over it. We have elderly folks, disabled folks coming from the facility, and I said, I don't know if the city's supposed to do what we are, but just do it. So even some of those things get a little gray, as far as who's supposed to do it, who can do it, and it's not even a matter of who's supposed to. If the boiler, you know, one time last year, we came in and water was pouring out of the boiler pipe, and I'm like, okay, we'll just shut the heat off because I don't think we can technically work on it or call somebody out because we don't own it. You know, and so even then, contractors, like folks aren't going to contract with us if it's not owned by us. So it becomes this whole process. But there are things that the city may never be able to get to, right? I mean, you've got enough on your plate without looking at it. We want to get that front of it. We refinish it. It looks nice. You know, it looks nice for the city. It looks nice for our clients. Last thing we want is folks not feeling feeling like I come serving multiple big agencies, one of the big things we switched our whole food bank program to an online delivery system, an online ordering system, to actually make it look like a supermarket versus food bank. Right? Humanity, they want to eat luxury food, different types of foods, most things that need that.
I mean, it's just incredible work. So, thank you for. Peterson, thank you for making that motion. Councilman Gray, seconding that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much for that information. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item number 4.
Item 4, resolution authorizing the comments of the parcel located on Assessor's Block 98, Lot 269, 14 Alaska Street to PRA for the purpose of redevelopment thereof and for economic development and increased tax revenue.
Requested the sponsor will, I think there's
Yeah, the sponsor has asked for these to be continued with a couple pending questions. And they asked, the council asked if possible to continue, clarification. Sorry, I think
We're just trying to move things to market for housing, so we will, whatever people want to do.
Okay, so I think, just to be respectful of
Mr. Chair, is there a way we could assuage the council's concern in the PRA RFP?
it's a great question. Unfortunately, I have a couple of questions that haven't been answered yet, which means that the councilors aren't able to respond to me. So I just figured we should continue. All right.
And I think we'll commit to our here as a committee is to come back and more regularly. This is, how important this work is. Various committees who, all these things on our docket that we're ready to farm, but you'll have opinion. So, where that comes out. Is there a motion made to item 4 and 5? Yeah, it would be item 4 and 5.
Yes, they're both council advice.
Just to be clear for the committee, nothing's been, I'm not asking you not to continue. Our process has been that everything's brought before the committee, is reviewed by the counselor and authorized before it's brought. So we'll continue to work through that process, but I don't want folks here to think that we've gone around anyone or not done that. It was really important to us, the counselors felt, because there's a lot of history on all these parcels. The counselors were with us, so we'll continue to work through that and appreciate your commitment to having another meeting so we can move these forward.
Okay. Sure. Well, when will be the next PRA meeting? Oh,
It's not currently scheduled. The
Okay.
standing meetings is the first Wednesday of the month, but it's not going to meet, not that forms for the next 2 standing meetings. So it'll be a special meeting, probably late July.
Okay.
yeah, I think that's very helpful. Okay, so we'll continue these matters. We'll get a commitment to get these on the next docket, so we'll continue this to the next city project. Motion is made by Councilor Peterson, seconded by Councilor Davis.
No, it's just.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, these matters will continue. Yes. Seeing that there's no further business, we have a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilor Gray, seconded by Councilor Peterson. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you all. Have a good night.